In this video, we're going to look at the pronunciation in Esperanto. I'm not going to go over the entire alphabet. I'm mainly just going to focus on what people frequently ask about or have problems with. The first thing to talk about is the stress or the accent. The accent is always on the second to the last syllable. Apud, dankon, maljuna, virino, preskaŭ. Normally, you don't write the accent marks in Esperanto because they are always in the same place. I just wrote them there for a visual cue of where to put the accent. You can also put the accent on affixes to emphasize that part of the word. Vi diris al mi ke vi ŝatas ĝin. You told me that you like it. Ne, mi diris al vi ke mi malŝatas ĝin. No, I told you that I dislike it. So here you accent mal to emphasize dislike rather than like. Also, hyphenated words can have two accents. Esperanto asocio. Each word has its own accent. One of the major differences between English and Esperanto is the vowels. There are 5 vowels, a, e, I, o, u, and they are pronounced exactly like that. The a is a as in father, or the o as in top. It is not the a in apple. That a sound doesn't exist. The e's are always short, such as escape, not like the e as in equal. That sound is the I in Esperanto. The I is always the long e sound, such as Eden, even, season, and it is not the I such as ignore. That I sound doesn't exist either. The O sounds like O as in open or obey, not like the O as in offer. For example, that sound, that A sound, is the A. One other thing to point out about the O's is typically in American English, people make the O's very long, whereas in Esperanto the O's are shorter. So in the word kato, you don't say kato, you say kato. The O is a lot shorter. The U is like a double O in English, hoop, oops, and it's not like the U in up. That sound doesn't exist either. And make sure that words that start with the U, you don't add a Y to them like we do in English often, such as the word use. You don't say ooze, you say use. There's a Y sound that's not written, but in Esperanto, make sure you don't add that sound. It's also important to notice that the wo and yo are not vowels. One phrase that you can use to practice your vowels is mi donas al vi, and what you do is you take out all the vowels and you replace it with one vowel, and every vowel should be pronounced exactly the same. Ma danas al va, me denas el ve. If any of your vowels change from one word to the next, then there's a problem. The next thing is the diphthongs, which diphthongs are one syllable, but they're written with 2 letters. The first one is ow, just like in cow, how, wow, etc. We have this sound in English. Usually it's not a problem. The o is a little bit different. It's almost the same as ow, except the initial sound is different. Europo neutra. So you have ow versus o. It's important to notice that this is one syllable because in the second example, if it was 2 syllables and it was neutra, then the accent would be different. I is the next diphthong, which is the long I sound, such as hi, bye, sigh, slide, etc. The EJ is a long A sound, bay, say, way, April. And the OJ is oi, boy, soy, ahoy. And then the last one doesn't really exist in English, but I found one example where it's pretty close. If you say ooh yogurt, it's right in between the 2 words. So it's ooh. So if you start to say this, but you just don't finish the word yogurt and you stop after you make the Y, then it's pretty close. Uyo and ti. So make sure that you say o and not yo, because the diphthong has to be together. Next we've got the s sound, which is troublesome for many people. The C is a TS sound, so you pronounce it just like in itsy bitsy, wits, hits, etc. Some Esperanto examples are cervo, etso, facila. It's a s sound, it's a TS. So when you pronounce the S and the C together, you pronounce it like an STS. Scii, osceri, sceptero, scii, osceri, sceptero. The next letter people often have trouble with is the R. So the R is very different than in English, and it's pretty much the R in Spanish. You can also trill the R, but whichever way that you decide to pronounce the R, you should pronounce it the same all the time in every word. So if you're going to roll it, that means you have to roll every R. Personally, I think that's a little bit too much, and I think it's more common that people tap it rather than trill it, like in the Spanish word pero. So to show you what this sounds like, I'm going to read a short poem that I saw on Facebook written by Jeremy Gishron. I hope I pronounced your name right. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but here we go. Li diris recte alla cara patro che la brava bardo en la teatro tre pravis che la birdo frua tro forte trilis alla trua trunco de la verda kverk vere grava vira verk. So that's a little bit of a tongue twister, but if you can manage to say this, then I think you've got the R down. This last slide is just a couple random extra tips to pay attention to. There are no silent letters in Esperanto. Also, when letters are doubled, you pronounce both of the letters, such as sen-noma. Make sure you pronounce both of the ends and you don't say sen-oma. Same with mal-longa, not mal-onga. There's a little bit of a difference. Often when you're speaking quickly, you can't hear it, but it is noticeable sometimes. Even when vowels are doubled, you have to pronounce them, such as openii, praa, ju'u, metro'o. And this is especially important because sometimes it changes either the accent or it changes the word entirely. Metro and metro'o are different words. In the first word, if you change the two I's and you smush them together, the accent changes from openii to opinii. Sometimes words that are spelled the same can be pronounced differently to show how the word is made. Concludo is one root, concludo is two roots, so you can change where the syllable breaks to show that it's made of two roots instead of one. Just a reminder, when you're reading in Esperanto, forget about how English is pronounced, forget everything about English, it's a different language. When you see words that are similar to English, make sure that you pay extra attention to them and you don't pronounce them like you would in English. Some examples would be same instead of same or same or something like that. Uzi, I talked about this one a little bit, make sure you don't add the Y sound and say uzi. And horo. In English, you say hour, and the H is silent, but in Esperanto, you have to pronounce the H. It's horo. It's not oro, because that means gold. That's a different word. So that's all I've got for this video. I hope this was helpful. I tried to cover the most common problems and questions that people bring up, but if I forgot anything, let me know, comment below, and thank you for watching.